I think we've already lost the republic. Now, that's my opinion. And I think that trying to hold together the blue states and the red states that hold diametrically opposed views on some of the core issues of life. These are not about these differences are not about how much funding should we give to the highway department,
Right.
should we build that lake. These are differences about when does life begin. Should you have the right to murder your baby up to 30 days after it's born if you decide you don't want it? Does an individual have the right to self-defense and can own firearms? Do you have the freedom to preach what you believe regardless of what others think about it? Those are the issues. And we're diametrically opposed. You can't reconcile those diametrically opposed views. So in my opinion, we're holding together a make-believe republic that probably died many decades ago. And I love America. I'm not dissing the flag. I'm not dissing the Constitution. I'm just simply saying, until we're willing to admit the obvious and then deal with it, we're eventually going to be pulled into some kind of horrific conflict. You're already seeing it. Look at what happens in cities like LA. Look at these fruitcakes that go and shoot these Minnesota representatives. People are members of government just because they don't agree with them. It's ridiculous. And look at the rhetoric. I mean, look at what happens. Look at how Tim Walz speaks at his rallies. I mean,
Right.
first of all, he's a buffoon in my opinion, but it's obvious that the rift is there, but we ignore it because we're trying to hold together something that I think has already gone by the wayside. And I'm not talking about let's have a war and fight. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about let's admit the obvious and stop trying to live under the same form of governance that won't serve both groups. I mean, so every 4 years we have this massive struggle to see which side can get their guy in the White House, as if that's the way the republic was designed to work anyway, and it wasn't.
Right.
And so, the pendulum just goes left and right, left and right, left and right. And it's ridiculous what we're doing. So I don't know what that means, except to say, I think we've probably already lost it, and we need to admit that and create, as the Declaration of Independence says, a new form of government that protects our rights. That sounds terrible. I know it sounds militaristic and
Well, it sounds very similar to a quote of Thomas Jefferson, where he says that basically we ought to redo things every now and then.
right.
So
I think that would be the biggest surprise to the framers. I've had people say, what do you think would surprise them the most? Well, aside from the technological advances, which would
right,
blow their minds, you know what I think would surprise them? That we haven't had a revolution. I think they would be surprised that we're trying to live 250 years later under the same form of governance that they created 2.5 centuries earlier. Now, I'm not suggesting that they'd say, oh, well, republics are, out. No, that's not what I mean. What I mean is they would look at our present situation and say, good grief, you guys really think that you can live under a Republican form of government with these diametrically opposed groups? No, you need to get away from those people and let them do their thing and you do your thing. I think they would be amazed.